Hey guys, RJ here, and I know after last week we all have some really high expectations for this show because it was definitely one of the best episodes on cable television I have ever seen. So, that being said, let's kind of dive into the context of the 6th episode of season 2 of The Expanse. As always, guys, if you have not seen Season 2, Episode 6 of The Expanse, turn this stuff off, go watch it, come back. I don't want to spoil anything for you. So, that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into this. This episode was full of a lot of contextual information of the show, right? We don't get huge impact moments until the very end, but there is a lot of stuff. A lot of wheels are turning throughout this entire episode, right? And I kind of want to talk about some of the character interactions in the first 40 minutes of this show because I think it's really important, maybe not in context of this episode, but I think moving forward, you have to note that there are some things going on between these characters. So, first and foremost, Jim Holden at the beginning, you looked ripped as shit. I gotta give that to him. He looked ridiculous, so props to that. But I do like that opening shot with him and Naomi kind of just like chilling in that room, and he's trying to talk to his mom, and he's trying to leave her a message saying, I'm not running away from this fight. I'm trying to protect the people I care about, and I really like Holden's speech there. I think he delivers it really well, too. So, and then on top of that, so the Holden-Naomi relationship changes a bit for us as the viewer today. I'm not sure the two characters themselves actually realize it yet, but the relationship itself definitely changed, and here's why. Because as you can see by the end of this episode, even though Captain Holden has given his orders, Naomi is not following them. She's not following them really at all, right? So there's two examples of this. You have one, the nukes that she ends up trying to disarm at the end, which is just plain ridiculous because she has no idea what the OPA or Frank Johnson or second in command, she has no idea what any of them plan to do with these weapons. So she's like just kind of gung-ho about it, and I don't know if she's just having some super belter pride or if there's something else at play here. Maybe she's just literally doing it out of like scientific, like maybe she just kind of got coaxed into it by his like second in command. I don't know. Maybe it's just like she's really interested in the engineering part of it. But it's definitely a lot of interesting stuff with her this episode, and you see at the end. So the other part of this episode that really gets me going was the intermixing of the storytelling of how the Epstein drive came to be. And I thought this was an amazing kind of built-in story into this. Like this whole episode encompasses the story of the Epstein drive. And I mean, obviously, I don't really know why they decided to make this like such. I mean, we're talking about like 10 to 15 minutes worth of the episode is the Epstein narrative. So I'm really curious. Is this going to come into play more down the road? Because we end up seeing it there at the end. They flash. She's getting into the nukes, into the software, trying to disarm it or whatever, and you end up seeing. It flashes in front and it's right there. It's his drive, and there's definitely a lot of questions I have about what ended up happening to him. I'm just kind of curious why they would throw it in this episode, right? They could have thrown this in like at the beginning of this show, or maybe at the end of last season, or I think in context, all right, what happens at the end of this episode, I feel like they have to be giving us some sort of foreshadowing or hint, right? Like that's what I would go with. So moving on from there, let's talk about the ending when we get there, all right? We'll save that for the end part of this video. Let's keep moving along. The other confrontational things we see in this episode, one is Amos. Yeah, I got you guys. And Alex, right? Alex kind of feels, they go to a bar, they're about to start partying, and I have to do a shout out to my boy, Diogo a Bamba. Okay, like I love one his where he's standing there like yelling like fight to rebel and stuff for the Belters. I thought that was terrific. I thought the painting he made was really good. So good for you, Diogo. I guess you know how to draw. And then on top of that, he ends up it's really subtle. So you might have to go back and watch the episode if you didn't see it before. But basically you see him walk by in the bar scene where Alex is sitting there, talking to like 4 different ladies, which we'll get into in a minute. And you see him walk by and he's like, I'll do this one for you, Miller. And I'm like, okay, like Diogo, absolutely OP character. Nobody's gonna stop him ever. I'm kidding. He'll die at some point. But point is, I really like the little like throw-ins they do of comedy into this show. I've said that before. They keep it really light for how dark some of this shit gets. So I like that little bit. But getting into the Amos and Alex thing is the fact that Alex, he's sitting there trying to flirt with like 4 different women, which, props to him, right? He just got done. He's talking about, 20G burn, and he's trying to like tell the story like all manly. And Alex is obviously on the crew, he's probably the least physical, and I think he knows it. Even Naomi, I would say, is more of a hard ass than Alex is, at least from what we've seen. So, I feel like he definitely does have, some semblance of a chip on his shoulder in that aspect of his life. So I think that Amos is just trying to watch out for his friends, and Naomi said this multiple times. He's a weird guy. He does his own thing, and she's always tried to be there to kind of like push him in the right direction. And he goes ape shit on this guy at the bar that punched Alex, and then Alex feels, demasculated. And I kind of understand where he's coming from there, because he's done a bunch of badass shit in this show. And I mean, like I just said in context that he's the least manly of the group, but this is like a whole subset of badasses, all right? Frank Johnson, Holden, Miller. I mean, all of these guys are like prone to beat the shit out of anyone that walks in their path, besides maybe Holden because he has such a high moral horse, okay? But point is, they're not getting along. So you have that, you have Naomi, and then Naomi pulls another thing later or earlier in the episode, which I forgot to talk about, was she ends up, so they all kind of agree. They have a round table, a Sir Arthur Pendragon discussion, sitting around the table like, hey, what should we do with the proto-molecule sample that we still have hiding behind the belt, or out in the asteroid belt, or wherever that specifically was in the belt. But they have it hidden, and they're trying to decide, what do we do? Do we hand it over to Mars? Do we hand it over to the OPA or other belters, or maybe Earth? Maybe we tell everyone about it that we possibly can to try and basically figure out exactly what happened, right? The problem with this is Holden doesn't trust any of them. And honestly, at this point, I kind of have to agree with him, because if anything has been shown over the last 2,000 years to humanity, it is, even when we are facing impending doom, no matter than 30 minutes later, we could all be down each other's throats again. So those friendships that we had last episode where everyone's like, yeah, pull together, go team, go system. Yeah, it's not happening anymore, okay? So Holden's really afraid to keep the sample alive because of who might end up using it. And he says no matter what, no matter who we try to manipulate or give it to, is going to end up using it in the wrong fashion sometimes. So, yep, I have to agree with Holden here, but I do not agree with where they were going to send it. And if you've seen my theory video on Joe Miller and Mao and just the whole end of episode 5 in general, you'll know I do not think that sending the protomolecule into the sun is a good idea. So I don't agree with Naomi saying no to Holden in this way, because she lies to him, right? She says, yep, it's off and away, and she ends up instead just pushing it on a simulation. And yeah, she lies to him just flat out. That's clearly a relationship breaker right there. Like, hey, honey, did you get rid of the giant alien molecule that just threatened to destroy our entire species, or did you kind of just leave it there behind the rock and lie to me because you kind of disagree with my opinion, but as a group, we all decided that it would be that way. Then the other kind of mystery that we end up getting solved this episode that was brought up in the preview of this episode was, where did the nukes go, right? And we end up finding out it is Frank Johnson and his number 2, the OPA in general. They redirected them, right? They got in between the Earthers and their missiles. They pretty much deactivated 30 of them. And pretty much now, they're in control of these. They end up coming in with these ships and swamping them up like a net. They literally look like fishing nets, basically, that they're doing in space. And obviously, it's a lot bigger area. But yeah, so that was interesting. And Frank ends up claiming that he's going to use them as a deterrent. But the more I saw of him this episode, the more he kind of seems off his rocker at this point. And I kind of want to know if you guys agree. Is Frank kind of losing it? Because I just last episode thought, damn, this guy is a really good guy, and he still might be, but when Naomi goes to ask him about the Joe Miller, Julie Mao, trying to publish their love story, he looks really, really weird. I don't know if it was an acting mistake or if this is purpose, he did this purposely, but the face he makes when she leaves that room is super weird. He's grinning, but in a really creepy way to me. So I don't know if he's good or bad at this point. They've kind of led us to believe both. I think he has the Belter's best interests at heart, but I think he might be a little bit getting tempted by, what all this, by what Cortazar is doing and, what he could do with the proto-molecule and what that possibility kind of is. It's in his mind now. He's like, it's in his mind that this could be used as a deterrent to war, a weapon for Belters to basically finally climb the, the stack that's been dominated by Mars and Earth this whole time. So it's not like I blame him. I'm just definitely very much so questioning him because of the conversation that Holden and him have on the bridge, where they both kind of question each other's loyalty a little bit. And at the end of the day, I have to give it to Holden. He is by far the most moral character in the show, at least as far as like the viewer, as far as we know. And yeah, I'm going to have to side with him on this one. If Frank keeps, pushing, he's eventually going to move from, a good guy / gray character into that bad realm. So we'll see what comes of that. I think the most important thing we talk about is the ending, right? I went back and watched this scene a few different times because I was a little confused the first time I saw it because there's a lot of shit going on. And on top of that, the CGI for this scene, the whole episode in general was just absolutely amazing. Sci-Fi, I've said this in every single review so far. Whatever you're doing with your CGI team, like, you should be throwing piles of money at these people because they are doing a spec job. Like, this is amazing. I have not been so entranced by like the way that they zoom down on the Jupiter shot. That was amazing. Very foreboding, and like just kind of shows you the scale of what we're dealing with here. These are planets like billions of times larger than that we see here on Earth, and yeah, it's just impossible for us to like contextualize because we've never been that close to one. But yeah, they do a really good job of that, and they're walking down and they're patrolling the UN versus Mars lines on this moon that they share. And yeah, what ends up happening is just shit kind of hits the fan, right? They see this weird, like what they end up thinking is a drone, but it's this ship that's like got 3 wings on it, and it's got like super maneuverability in space, and it can move. It's moving like side to side really, really fast, and it's doing weird things. And they're like, oh, it's probably just a drone. Like, don't worry about it. And then, like, all shit breaks loose after that, right? My guess here, my prediction, is that whatever that ship was is really what fired the first shot here, right? Because you see, like, Earth's destroyer coming in and, like, banging out all the mirrors or the outside stations and stuff, which, by the way, once again, visually amazing. That shit looked perfect, like absolutely perfect. All of the reflections going on there and the sound effects coming from the glass, like ricocheting off one another. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Could not be more happy with that. That whole scene was just amazingly done. I think the only issue I had with that battle scene is inside of the Mars ship when all of the people are dying. It reminded me of like Star Trek deaths back in like, early 80s, like early 90s, like early Star Trek, like really early Star Trek. Okay. Like people blew back from computers like that. It looked a little strange. I did like the way the captain died though. So, which I am sad to see him go. He was one of my favorite characters that we know of, the Mars people, which we don't know that well. And yeah, the whole scene, I'm pretty sure it's caused by this alien ship. I think that's kind of indisputable because then Mars and Earth could just kind of destroy each other from everything I can see. And I love that end scene that we get with Gunny, where she's laying. I'm tearing up here a little bit, but no, I'm kidding. It's where she's laying on the rock, and it's like coming up on her, and she's like looking up, and she's definitely got like blurred vision. She's beat to hell basically. Like her face is very puffy, her lips are super puffy, and they show like the dead bodies of all of her crewmate or all of her all of her squad mates and stuff, and there's these giant slices all across their armor, and it's clearly from whatever was chasing those 6 UN Marines, which if you could not count, there are 7 little arrows there, okay? Not 6 like they originally saw, there are 7, and that thing that we end up seeing at the end clearly has something to do with the proto-molecule, right? I'm not sure it's anything to do with Miller Mao or Eros in general. It could easily be another experiment that Protogen or one of the other bajillions of companies that I'm sure the government isn't keeping track of could have already started. And I think that's kind of the argument against Holden here is he says that they have the only sample, but that's clearly not true. And I think that's a little juvenile to kind of believe that way, that you're the only one with a sample left, because clearly whoever sent it here in the first place has more of it. I mean, that would be my guess. So yeah, like what's your guys' theory on this? The guy at the end, do you think, is he a human experiment gone wrong, or is it being monitored by some other ships? Because we did see some other ships there, and I'm not sure if they were related to Mars or the UN or what was going on there. And we don't really get any explanation, which I'm fine with. I like the cliffhanger. But yeah, there are a lot of questions up in the air there, especially did Gunny like roll out of the way of what I assume was a tractor beam at the end? And you know, the alien or whatever, or maybe part human, part alien. I'm guessing either both of them got sucked up or she rolled out of the way fast enough. Really not sure. There's a lot of questions to be answered because that thing just destroyed their suits. I mean, just wrecked. And we were led to believe in the beginning of this season that those suits would be like pretty badass, right? When we saw that opening warm up. So, yeah, that was pretty scary. And I think that there is a lot of things in this show going forward that we have to have answers to at some point. And I think the biggest one in the room is what I said in my theory is what the hell is going on Venus? That end the story when Chrisjen is having that conversation with the scientists, where he's saying, send me to Mars, let me be your eyes and ears, he's definitely going to die. Those type of scientists that are like, oh, I'll do anything for science and blah, 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 I have to be close to this, they always end up dying. He's going to die. I'm calling that now. So, and I do have to do one more shout out before I end this. I know it's getting a little longer than I'd like, but Chrisjen's speech to him is just absolutely amazing, where she threatens him and she's like, I can go after my enemies. I will rain hellfire down on those that want to destroy the human race. And she's like, I am the goddamn hero that just saved this planet. So you either better choose who your sides are, choose who your friends are, or get off the planet. Cause like shit is about to go down unless I start figuring out some answers. So gotta give it out to her. She absolutely dominated that speech and she had me quaking in my boots afterwards. So good job to her. I really like that whole dialogue between both of them. I saw both sides of the argument, and I thought Chrisjen delivered it beautifully. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really enjoy doing The Expanse. This show is flat out amazing. I know that this one was a little bit slower than last week's, but that's fine. Otherwise, those big moments do not look right. If you don't put some filler in between where you get some good character development, you don't get those feelings in those big moments. So I'm fine with this, and let me know down below. Let me know your theories. What the hell happened at the end of that episode? Book readers, please just don't comment on it because I really don't want to ruin anything for just show-only watchers. But let me know your theories down below, guys. Is Gunny gonna survive? Is she going to space with said alien man, or is this just another project gone awry? Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you absolutely hate my face and you never want to see me again. Subscribe to us here on YouTube, that helps us out the most, and all of our social media links are down in the video description. So until next time, guys, we'll see you soon.